After another emotional and politically explosive episode, House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 4 appears ready to deliver one of the biggest chapters of the Dance of the Dragons so far. The latest preview teases new betrayals, dangerous military strategies, and a growing conflict that could reshape the future of Westeros. In today's video, we'll break down everything we know about Episode 4, explain the biggest moments from the trailer, and discuss our predictions for what happens next. Let's begin. Episode 3 ended with Rhaenyra securing another important victory, but winning King's Landing has not brought her the peace she hoped for. Instead, it has created even more problems. Her enemies remain scattered across Westeros, gathering strength while secretly planning their next move. Every victory now comes with a price, and every decision risks pushing another powerful lord toward the Greens. One of the biggest surprises in the previous episode was the continued rise of Lord Torrhen Manderly. His support for Rhaenyra suggests that the North could become one of her greatest political advantages in the war. At the same time, his influence within her council continues to grow, making him a key figure to watch as the conflict escalates. However, not everyone surrounding the Queen shares the same vision. As Episode 4 begins, Rhaenyra must decide whether to continue fighting aggressively or slow her campaign before her allies begin turning against one another. The trailer shows her studying battle maps while discussing Ormond Hightower's movements, yet even she admits that she cannot predict what her enemy is planning. That uncertainty may prove to be her greatest weakness. Meanwhile, the Greens are far from defeated. Ormond Hightower continues marching through the Reach, building alliances and expanding his army with remarkable speed. The latest trailer hints that his campaign is leading directly toward Tumbleton, one of the most strategically important locations in the kingdom. If Ormond succeeds in taking control there, he could cut off Rhaenyra's forces and shift the balance of power back toward the Greens. Many fans believe Episode 4 will begin laying the foundation for the Battle of Tumbleton, one of the defining conflicts of the Dance of the Dragons. The trailer never fully reveals the coming battle, but every scene points toward armies preparing for a confrontation unlike anything we've seen this season. Another storyline attracting enormous attention involves Aegon II and Larry Strong. Since fleeing King's Landing, their journey has become one of the show's biggest mysteries because it no longer follows the source material closely. The trailer shows Aegon growing increasingly unstable. His anger is obvious. His desire for revenge has only become stronger. But rage alone cannot win a war. Larry's appears determined to guide him toward a larger objective, though it remains unclear whether he is truly helping Aegon, or quietly manipulating him for his own benefit. That uncertainty makes every conversation between them incredibly dangerous. Another character facing impossible choices is Corlys Velaryon. After suffering devastating personal losses throughout the war, Corlys no longer appears motivated by power alone. Instead, his focus has shifted toward protecting what remains of his family's legacy. Recent interviews with Steve Toussaint reveal that Corlys is becoming increasingly concerned with honor, family, and the future of House Velaryon rather than political ambition. Those changing priorities could place him at odds with Rhaenyra if their goals no longer align. This emotional conflict could become one of Episode 4's strongest storylines. The trailer also continues teasing the mystery surrounding Rhaenyra Targaryen. After the shocking revelation involving a false Daemon, viewers are left wondering where the real prince is hiding and when he will finally enter the war. Daemon remains one of the Greens' greatest potential advantages because he commands the dragon Tessarion and is considered one of Alicent's most capable children. His arrival could dramatically strengthen the Green cause. Of course, no episode of House of the Dragon would be complete without dragons. Although HBO carefully avoids revealing major action scenes, several shots in the preview suggest that multiple dragons will soon be taking flight. The tension is unmistakable. The armies are moving. The commanders are making their final preparations, and everyone understands that another devastating battle is coming. Unlike previous episodes, this time both sides know exactly what's at stake. There will be no easy victories. Only survival. Our prediction is that Episode 4 will focus less on one massive battle and more on setting every major storyline in motion. Rhaenyra will continue trying to unite her supporters while questioning who she can truly trust. Ormond Hightower will tighten his grip on the Reach as his campaign moves closer to Tumbleton. Aegon II's search for revenge will become even more dangerous. Corlys Velaryon may begin challenging decisions he once accepted without hesitation. And Rhaenyra Targaryen's long-awaited arrival could finally become reality. If these storylines continue building at their current pace, episode May 4th become the turning point that sends the Dance of the Dragons into its bloodiest phase yet. One thing is certain. The war is only beginning. The preview suggests that Rhaenyra's small council is becoming increasingly divided. Some advisors favor an aggressive offensive that would crush the Greens before they can recover. Others believe the Queen should consolidate her recent gains, strengthen supply lines, and avoid unnecessary risks. Rhaenyra now carries the burden of making impossible choices. Every order she gives sends thousands of soldiers into danger. Every dragon she commits to battle risks losing one of the greatest weapons her family possesses. The Dance of the Dragons has entered a stage where even victory can come at a devastating cost. One scene from the trailer stands out more than any other. We see soldiers marching through smoke-covered fields while banners wave in the distance. Although HBO carefully avoids revealing the exact location, many viewers believe these shots are connected to the growing conflict surrounding Tumbleton. If that theory is correct, episode May 4th spent considerable time showing both armies preparing for what could become one of the most decisive battles of the war. Unlike earlier conflicts, this battle would involve experienced commanders who understand exactly how dragons have changed warfare. No longer are dragons simply symbols of power. They have become weapons capable of destroying entire armies in minutes. This reality forces every commander to think differently. Where should dragons be deployed? Should they attack first or remain hidden until the enemy commits? What happens if two dragons meet in open battle? These are questions both sides must answer. Meanwhile, Daemon Targaryen continues to be one of the most unpredictable figures in Westeros. Even when he appears loyal to Rhaenyra, Daemon rarely follows anyone's plan except his own. Throughout the series, Daemon has repeatedly shown that he believes bold action is better than cautious diplomacy. Episode May 4th once again tests that belief. If Daemon believes the Queen is hesitating, he could take matters into his own hands. That possibility creates enormous tension because Daemon's victories often come with unintended consequences. He wins battles. But sometimes those victories create even bigger political problems afterward. Another fascinating storyline involves House Velaryon. Corlys has sacrificed more than almost anyone else during this war. His fleet remains one of the greatest military advantages available to Rhaenyra, but maintaining naval dominance requires enormous resources. Ships must be repaired. Crews must remain loyal. Supply routes must stay open. If the Greens find a way to disrupt Velaryon control of the seas, Rhaenyra's position could weaken dramatically. Episode May 4th begin exploring this hidden side of the war. While dragons dominate the skies, fleets determine whether armies can eat, travel, and survive. Let's also talk about Alicent Hightower. Although she has lost significant political influence compared to earlier seasons, she remains one of the smartest political players in Westeros. Alicent understands that wars are rarely decided by brute strength alone. She knows fear can become a weapon. Mercy can become a weapon. Even silence can become a weapon. The trailer shows very little of Alicent, which often means the writers are protecting an important storyline from being spoiled. Do not be surprised if episode 4 gives her one of the most memorable conversations of the season. Sometimes a single discussion behind closed doors changes history more than an entire battle. One question fans continue asking is whether new dragon riders will finally step forward. As the war grows larger, both factions desperately need more experienced riders. But claiming a dragon is never simple. Every attempt carries enormous danger. Some dragons refuse new riders completely. Others respond with deadly violence. If episode 4 introduces another successful dragon bond, it could instantly change the balance of power heading into the second half of the season. Another detail worth paying attention to is how ordinary people are responding to the war. Kings and queens fight for crowns. Common people fight simply to survive. As armies continue marching across Westeros, villages are abandoned, crops are destroyed, and families become trapped between rival factions. The series has increasingly shown that the Dance of the Dragons is not just a story about noble houses. It is also a tragedy for the people caught in the middle. Expect Episode 4 to remind viewers that every military victory creates countless unseen victims. Finally, let's make one bold prediction. By the end of Episode 4, the war may reach a point where neither side can retreat. Until now, both the Blacks and the Greens have still hoped for a decisive victory that ends the conflict quickly. But after the events this episode is expected to set in motion, revenge may become more important than peace. Once that happens, every future battle becomes even more brutal. Every alliance becomes more fragile. And every dragon that falls brings Westeros one step closer to complete destruction. The Dance of the Dragons has always been more than a fight for the Iron Throne. It is the story of how one family, blessed with the greatest power in the world, slowly tears itself apart. If Episode 4 delivers on the promise of its preview, viewers should prepare for an emotional, suspenseful, and unforgettable chapter that pushes every major character closer to their breaking point. And that is exactly why this could become one of the highest-rated episodes of the season. If you enjoyed this preview, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your biggest prediction for Episode 4 in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next breakdown.